Morning, everybody. Just out on another morning dog walk. Been a while since I've done one, I think. Last one I did was where I had the sponge over the microphone and half the camera as well. So that was crap. So it's been quite a while since I've done one. I'm trying to squeeze one in because I've not done my Charlton match write-up yet. I'm going to be doing that at some point today, so do keep an eye out for that. But I've been kind of walking up the road thinking about the offside decision. And I thought I'd just have a little bit of a chat about the minutes before half time and try and add a little bit of context, I think, as well. Certainly, look, days gone by, had we been the team that were offended against there, I would have been incandescent with rage. You would have been calling the referee all sorts. But I've watched it back time and again. And I think, maybe a Charlton fan might watch this. I don't really know. But if they do, there's a couple of really salient pieces of information to pay attention to in terms of the offside rule. And, I think everybody or a lot of people can interpret the offside rule very differently. And there was I could liken it to one played Huddersfield back 15 years ago now, Pavel Abbott. Everyone of a certain age will remember that. Pavel Abbott was stood, not 1 or 2 yards offside, but 30 yards offside. Ball was played forward, it brushed our player's head, and the referee deemed him to be onside. Now, in that instance, Pavel Abbott becomes offside when the ball is played forward. The fact a defender then touches it shouldn't render him onside, because obviously the ball has been played forward, he's offside, the flag should go up. If it touches somebody on the way through, he was still offside when the ball was played. So that was a wrong decision. Now, yesterday, the only ball that was played forward was from George Grant's penalty. So Grant himself had to be behind the ball when it was played. So he can't possibly have been offside. Even if he was stood offside, as soon as when the ball came back into him, he's the last Lincoln player to play the ball forward. So he's taken the penalty. Not a wonderful penalty, saved by the goalkeeper. If Harry Anderson's played the ball across, then potentially Grant is offside. I haven't seen the line. There isn't a camera down the line. But from all the replays I've seen, and I've slowed it down, I've done it frame by frame. I mean, this is League One, so we can't be certain. But it looks like their boys played it back across. If that's the case, the next Lincoln player to touch the ball after it's been played forward is George Grant again. He can't play the ball forward to himself, so he can't possibly have been offside. Now, I kind of get why Lee Bowyer was angry, because I think, shut my dog, yeah, I think we would be angry too, wouldn't we? If you think about it, absolutely battered us in the first half, with respect. Not actually put anything meaningful at goal, but absolutely battered us. We get a weak free kick. And it was a weak free kick. It was handball 3 years ago. It's not handball because the ball's hit his hand. He hasn't gone to stop it. He hasn't reached out. The ball's hit his hand. It's the same thing that, who was moaning about it? Roy Hodgson. Never really hear Roy Hodgson that angry, but Hodgson was moaning about it. At the weekend, the new rule, apparently, if the ball hits the hand, it's handball. So it's a weak free kick to give away. Not the first and not the last they gave away in dangerous positions, though. I mean, Charlton seemed to be, either they were a little careless in key areas in a kind of around the 18-yard box, or we were really clever. And I do think Tom Hopper was clever. He knows how to draw a foul, but it is a free kick. Again, if the boot's on the other foot, you're probably saying it's a weak free kick. No doubt about the penalty, and quite why the Charlton official Twitter account has been as unprofessional as they have in those moments. I think official media accounts and fan accounts can be very different. And whoever's running the Charlton media account seems to have got the two mixed up a little bit, I think, because for those that didn't see it on Twitter, they put their players were doing their nut, and rightly so, and great language, that they didn't see why it was a penalty. The odd riding, yes. I mean, this was just outright anger. So anyway, we scored the penalty. Lee Bowyer is claiming that the linesman couldn't give offside because he couldn't see the decision and he guessed. It's kind of that guilty until proven innocent, chicken and the egg. Which comes first? If you give a decision, you have to assume that no foul has been committed until you see that it has. Innocent rather, before proven guilty. So in not giving the offside, rightly or wrongly, the linesman has done the right thing. And Lee Bowyer was saying, well, you're guessing. We know that it was offside, so you're guessing that it wasn't. But they have to give a decision, and they can't give the decision the controversial way. That's the guess. So you are innocent until proven guilty. You are onside until proven offside. So I think all in all, kind of around that whole incident, the referee has probably done everything right. If it's us, we're the other way around. If it's us, we go, he was offside. MK Dons last week. And Michael Hoyton said in his pre-match interview, well, that evens it up for last week's goal. I'm not actually sure it does, because I've watched last week's goal. God, my hair looks awful. I've watched last week's goal, and as far as I can see, Joe Mason was onside. The ball's gone through to him. TJ's played him onside. The beauty of it, in my opinion, is that we're able to discuss this. I've got 50 of you right now listening to me discuss incidents from the weekend. Who doesn't have that? Premier League fans. Premier League fans don't have the ambiguous nature of football rule interpretation to spice up their post-match reports or their debate or their chatter. What they have is VAR. And VAR really is a virtual assistant. I don't know what it is, but it's ruining the game completely. I don't watch Premier League football now. I haven't watched it for years. Last Premier League match I watched in full was probably in the 90s, if I'm honest. The last highlights for Premier League I watched was when Leicester got the trophy. Not trying to be cool about it. I don't like the Premier League. There's exciting goals and all that sort of thing. My dog's disappeared. He's a bastard. He does this. But now, especially with VAR and Man United scoring a penalty after the final whistle's gone at the weekend, even the most staunch Manchester United fan has probably got to admit that's a little fortunate. If the whistle goes, the whistle goes. Here it comes. And that's it, surely. Anyway, whether the offence was before it or not shouldn't matter. If I don't know, just baffles me. But they're having to talk about, for me, non-football matters, and we're able to talk about offsides. I actually think we've had the rub of the green when it comes to decisions thus far. Tom Hopper's penalty at MK Dons, weak. Okay, Conor McGrandle's penalty probably was one, and at the time the referee felt that he didn't want to give it. I mean, it shouldn't be that shouldn't be their prerogative. If it's a foul, it's a foul. But I thought we had some decisions go against us on Saturday, but not in key areas. There was a free kick in the build-up to a chance. Liam Bridcut was fouled in the build-up to a Charlton chance. If it goes in, I'm talking about that now, but it didn't. So these decisions also depend on the actual outcome. They also depend on how the players that are affected by the decisions then take them. George Grant didn't from the penalty spot. He did from the next ball through. You play to the whistle. He's done the right thing. Now, in the post-match, I've had an eye on a lot of comments. And there's quite a lot of people kind of saying, well, salty Charlton, coming and playing little old Lincoln and getting beat. And yes, when you look at the history books, we've only beaten Charlton once in our history, beaten Liverpool more times than that. Last time we played them was 50 odd years ago. That tells you as much about our progress as it does their decline, I think, over the years. But let's not fool ourselves into thinking that Charlton Athletic think that they are a big club who have no right to be at this level. I mean, they have been on their arse. And obviously I write a bit about League One and League Two, so I cover lower league football a bit. And Charlton have had a torrid time. Make no mistake about it, they're no strangers to Scotland at Rochdale, or the Memorial Stadium at Bristol Rovers, or Priestfield, or Roots Hall, or Fleetwood. They're no stranger to these places. They had one season in the Championship after, 3 or 4 out, potentially. I was before I started writing. They're no stranger to having poor squads. The year they went up, they were only on the fringes of the playoffs until late on, and they were kind of forced up. They put a good run together, but they had no right really to force their way into the playoffs until the likes of Sunderland and Portsmouth and Peterborough and players like that capitulated, and Charlton took advantage. And at one point almost looked like they were going to go for automatic promotion, along with, I think, Barnsley and Luton got it in the end. But I don't think their fans are under any illusion. I don't think that they think they're a Sunderland or an Ipswich, because they've tasted anxiety, they've tasted bitter defeats, they've tasted mid-table League One mediocrity. Ipswich and Sunderland are just getting their first taste of that now. So when Lee Bowyer's kicking off, he's doing that because he's an opposition manager. And, I didn't agree with his comments. I'd rather hear his comments and have a little bit more respect for his comments than I did Carl Robinson the week before or 2 weeks before, blaming, the changing facilities and the lack of water. Managers meant to speak out a little bit and be a little bit controversial. Lee Bowyer was incredibly upset. I'll tell you why he was upset. He was as upset with the fact that his team hadn't taken their chances as he was with the decisions. But what do? Go out on radio and blast your team. Some managers might. It's counterproductive. Most managers won't. Referee's an easy target. Controversial decisions are an easy target. A couple of comments. Warren Walker, this is quite a good one if I can get it up, which I can't. Not quite sure why I can't get that up. Oh, there we go, because I've got my finger over something else. Swings and roundabouts. Yeah, absolutely. And look, it goes back to that ambiguity, doesn't it? It goes back to what is football. Is football a game by which the rules are very, very defined and should be implemented strictly in terms of absolutely no room for a margin of error? If it is, VAR. And even then, VAR's got the margin of error for the guy behind the screen. Or is football a game of passion and reaction? A game where some decisions should be automated? Goal line technology. Absolutely. If a ball goes over the line, if a team scores a legitimate goal, ball goes over the line, for me, then you need some form of technology to say, yes, that's a goal. Offsides? Fouls? Some of them are open to interpretation. Potentially, somebody might say that if George Grant is stood in an offside position, irrespective of when the ball is played, he's interfering with play. So when he should be offside. I don't know. I think that's the wrong interpretation. But there are interpretations of the rules that make the game a little bit more interesting. And Kate's kind of picked up on that here. The thing about football is two people can see exactly the same incident and have completely different opinions. And that's why there is a foul. One set of hands is clapping, the other's waving their arm in anger. Exactly so. Exactly so. But isn't anger part of football? Feeling angry, feeling cheated. Just a minute. Charlie! I think my dog is potentially cow bothering. So this could be a problem for me. Because if he is, I'm going into trouble. I'm getting in trouble. No, there he is. I'll put him on his lead. Again, so Paul Mark, 46-game season, things tend to level themselves out. Remember the howler at Huddersfield? Well, I've just been speaking about that, Paul. I think there have been many bad decisions against us since. I think there have been many good decisions that have gone for us since. So I think in terms of, levelling it out, probably we've had the rub of the green before then. Hold on 1 second, people. My dog has spied a cow. He doesn't know how to get to the cow. So all he's doing is standing and watching. This is going to disappoint him immensely when I click his lead on him and take him away. So who else have we got here? You don't get any of this, do you, on the podcast? Can you imagine the Anfield rap doing this? Yeah, so Craig Hoghill thought the both called chemical Charlton defender. Absolutely, pretty much the same. Andy Gray, we're definitely having the rub of the green. Palmer's first minute clearance versus Oxford. Chance Charlton had in the first minute. We are getting the rub of the green. Charlie, come on. We're getting the rub of the green in terms of decisions. In terms of things like Palmer's clearance and the Charlton chance, the Charlton chance, you get bodies in front of the ball, you put the striker off. Palmer's clearance, you react quickly to a bad pass or a bad touch. So I think, you make your own look to a degree in terms of open play. But the referees, you can't influence those. I actually don't think the referees have been too bad. Thought Saturdays was a little inconsistent. Booking Sean Rowan, I think it was, for kicking the ball away, or Brennan Johnson for kicking the ball away, was harsh as hell. But, you pick those yellow cards up. Charlie, come on. Come on. Right, I'm going to have to go because this is what I'm greeted with. Here's my dog. Yeah, say hello. and he's looking through there. And I don't know if you can see, but there's cows watching him. And I've now got to try and drag him on. You've had 15 minutes of me banging on. I will do my match report a little bit later on this morning, so that'll be out. Bob's is providing more pictures at the moment. He's providing 30 odd pictures per game to try and give you more of a feel of being at the game. So keep an eye out for that as well. Thank you very much for watching. Happy to, if anyone wants to DM me questions to base around an article or a next dog walk, more than happy to do so. But it's going to be raining for the next 4 days though, so you might not get one. Hope the sound's been all right. I haven't as yet invested in a clip mic, but it is going to happen as well. Thank you for watching this. Thank you obviously for watching Matchday Live, and I'll speak to you again soon.